Holding someone accountable is not an attack. There may not also be a tea party. Accountability Africa is designed to always ask questions on how our commonwealth is being handled. And from the private sector, we pry into their customer service operations. Accountability Africa. This is Accountability Africa. Before we go on, let's answer this question. Why do farmers use fertilizers? Soils naturally contain many nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, and potassium. These nutrients allow plants to grow. When soil nutrients are missing or in short supply, plants suffer from nutrient deficiency and stop growing. When the nutrient level is too low, the plant cannot function properly and produce the food necessary to feed the world's population. Once crops are harvested for human consumption, the natural supply of nutrients in the soil must be refilled. This is why farmers add nutrients to their soils. Nutrients can be added from a variety of sources: organic matter, chemical fertilizers, and even by some plants. This maintains the soil fertility so the farmer can continue to grow nutritious crops and healthy crops. Farmers turn to fertilizers because these substances contain plant nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Fertilizers are simply plant nutrients applied to agricultural fields to supplement required elements found naturally in the soil. Fertilizers have been used since the start of agriculture. Native American people used crude fertilizers, such as burying a fish in their corn plots, and organic farmers use fertilizer from natural sources, such as compost. Most farmers today use fertilizers that are either mined or manufactured. Regardless of the source of the fertilizer, all plants use the same inorganic forms of fertilizer in the soil. Sometimes the source of nitrogen can be plants called nitrogen fixers. Many farmers use crops such as soybeans and alfalfa called legumes that can remove naturally occurring nitrogen in the atmosphere and place it in the soil for future crops to use. Fertilizer use is very expensive and can harm the environment if not used correctly. Therefore, before adding fertilizer, farmers send a soil sample to a laboratory for baseline testing. By testing the soil, farmers know which nutrients and how much to apply to the soil. If too little is added, crops will not produce as much as they should. If too much is added or at the wrong time, excess nutrients will run off the fields and pollute streams and groundwater. So, while fertilizers serve an important purpose, farmers must be careful to use the right amount at the right time to avoid potential negative effects to the environment. To stay healthy, humans need to acquire essential nutrients from many different food sources. The demand for food and other products from agricultural systems will increase over the next few decades. This means that we need to keep our soils healthy and full of nutrients in order to feed the growing population. Femi Adesina is a Nigerian journalist who serves as the Special Advisor Media and Publicity to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. Adesina attended Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, in Osun State, Nigeria, and then he was at Lagos Business School. He started his career in journalism as a writer for Radio Lagos and later joined Vanguard newspapers. Adesina wrote for Vanguard newspapers and National Concord newspapers before joining The Sun newspaper, where he rose to become editor-in-chief. He also served a 2-year term as president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Although re-elected for a second term as Guild president, Adesina stepped down after receiving his government appointment. He also stepped down as editor-in-chief of The Sun. Adesina was sworn in as special advisor on media and publicity to President Buhari on August 31, 2015. Hello there and welcome to another edition of Accountability Africa. Here we hold political officers accountable and of course CEOs, captains of industry, and even representatives of countries who are domiciled in Nigeria. Well, you will agree with me that many countries have become very, very relevant in and with Nigeria. Of late, it was the United States of America when the presidential election was coming and when it was on, and when we were battling to know who will carry the day, Joe Biden or my good friend Donald Trump. Then US became very popular in Nigeria. And just recently, Chad became very, very popular due to the killing of our dear President Idris Deby. And right now, Morocco is becoming very, very audible even to the deaf. And we want to know what is actually going on. We know that the president was in a discussion with the king of Morocco not long ago. And then when a discussion came up in the area of bilateral agreements, some prominent Nigerians were present. We had the Jigawa governor, we had the FEPSAN, the fertilizer president, the Association of the Fertilizer groups. We also have representatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And we also have the Special Advisor Media and Publicity to the Nigerian President, Femi Adesina. And I'm glad to let you know that joining me on this edition of the program is Femi Adesina. Femi, welcome to the program.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Well, it's such a delight to have you here. And we want to first of all know, how do you describe the relationship between Nigeria and Morocco?
Well, I'll say that currently the relationship between the two countries is at its very best. In the past, there had been some frosty relations. In fact, when this administration came in 2015, there had to be a mending of the relationship because there was some frostiness at a certain point. But then the Buhari administration came, it reset the foundation of the relationship, and today things are going quite well between the two countries.
Now we know that some discussions are going on. As a matter of fact, Nigeria has gone into some agreements with Morocco. Am I right to say that the agreements are only in the area of agric and particularly fertilizer?
Well, that is a major, very, very major. But you will recall that the King of Morocco visited this country and there were a number of bilateral agreements signed. It went beyond just fertilizer. And the president of Nigeria also visited Morocco more than once. More than once we have been to Morocco. One was a state visit, the other was, I think, on a multilateral mission. But Nigeria and Morocco are quite close today. We can regard ourselves as allies. In fact, there was a time that Morocco mooted the idea of even joining ECOWAS. Geographically, they are not located in West Africa, but they wanted to join ECOWAS because they saw opportunity to do things with the West African sub-region.
But this is strange. Do West Africans even appreciate that? Do we really believe in our sub-region? Are we not condemning even the sub-region for us to now have a country from North Africa wishing to join West Africa? Isn't there a kind of confusion there?
Yes, Morocco saw the possibilities and the opportunities.
which we don't see.
Well. It's all the possibilities and opportunities, and it wanted to tap into those opportunities for the country, and the idea came up. I don't recall what became of it eventually, but I know that at a point it was an issue.
All right, now, why fertilizer? Why not implements? Why not some other area? Why fertilizer?
Yes, because part of the products used to manufacture fertilizer, Morocco has perhaps the greatest supply in the world, not just Africa.
Okay, but
Yes, Morocco is rich in items needed for fertilizer. And you also remember that in Nigeria, fertilizer was a big scam, one big scam that took away monies in millions of dollars since it was imported. You found states importing, you found federal government importing, you found a lot of scams surrounding fertilizer in Nigeria. But with the advent of the Muhammadu Buhari administration, it decided to partner with Morocco. We have some of the items used for fertilizer here, Morocco has, and then when we teamed up, it became a very big and huge opportunity for the two countries. Um, Fertilizer sold for as high as 15,000 naira per bag before. But when the initiative with Morocco came, the price dropped to 5,500 naira.
right now,
Yes, 5,500 naira per bag was what fertilizer then went for after the initiative with Morocco came on stream. So farmers had unfettered access to fertilizer, and it was also affordable.
now what are we expecting physically? Some mighty factories, some, what do we intend to see as physical structures with this agreement?
Well, there's an association called FEPSAN, Fertilizers Producers
Producers and
and
suppliers.
Suppliers Association of Nigeria. They will be able to tell you what are the uh, bolts and nuts of the relationship. But I know that some things are coming. Recently, the president held a meeting with FEPSAN, and at that meeting, it was announced that a factory was coming to be sited in Nigeria, and it was going to cost so much and generate so much employment for Nigerians.
Right now, you've made us to know that there will be the plant, ammonia plant, which will be operational here. Um, but then, how relevant with all these things we are talking about now be to the job creation or employment generation drive of the present Nigerian government?
Oh, a lot. If a plant is going to be sited here and such humongous amount of money was going to be spent, you can imagine the number of people such a plant will take in. So it's a veritable opportunity for employment, direct employment. And then the direct or the indirect employment it will generate will also be so huge, because when uh, manufacturing takes place, you have the value chain. People who will be off takers, those who will do it as wholesale, those who will retail it, and farmers who will use it, and the staff they will employ to do it. So there are great opportunities in terms of employment.
All right, Femi, you please bear with us because you are in charge of media and publicity, and we are not talking to you as if you are a fertilizer producer. But because you have been part of this all along since it started, there are three names that have been very, very conversant with this discussion here in Nigeria, representative of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Jigawa governor, and even FEPSAN, that's the Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria. I am particular, I know CBN, of course, our own, do you call it counterpart funding or whatever. But then what of the Jigawa governor? What is his role? Is there, or
Um,
do we have ammonia in Jigawa?
no, I think the Jigawa governor is there on the basis of his being a member of the Food Security Council in the
Okay,
country.
okay.
There's a council called the Food Security Council. You have governors of key food producing states in that council. So I think it's on the basis of that that the Jigawa governor is part of the fertilizer initiative.
Okay. Now we hear reliably or unreliably, though, that Nigeria is not a particularly conducive environment for investment. But then we are having Morocco so tied to Nigeria and some other countries. What do you see to this? What's your reaction to this?
Yes, security is everything. Every country must guarantee security within its borders to attract investment. And President Buhari keeps saying it that before you can efficiently manage a country, you must first secure it. And that is why he has placed so much emphasis on security since 2015. The successes differ
Mm.
on different fronts. On insurgency, we know what has been achieved, but we know that banditry then came in. Then we had kidnappings for ransom and all that. So the security challenge, or let me say challenges now, are multifarious. But then, do we now say, because of these challenges, there must be no investment? If you face just the security challenges and there are no investments, by the time you solve security, what do you fall back on?
Okay.
In fact, investors, key investors, will tell you that you go into a country at a time it has challenges,
Mm.
because then you can invest at lower cost than when the country is at a boom. So investors know that. They know that. They just weigh the risks, and if they consider that it's worth taking, they go into such country at the time of challenges. So when those challenges disappear, they are booming.
Great. Now, what else from Morocco? Are we expecting some? Because I would always want Nigeria to be a kind of Oliver Twist. Always wanting
Yes,
more.
like I told you, when the King of Morocco was here, there were a number of bilateral agreements
Okay.
signed. So
Yeah.
it went beyond fertilizer. I'm sure if you get in touch with the embassy here, they will be able to tell you what other things Nigeria is involved with in Morocco.
Okay. Well, we are winding up this particular session with Femi Adesina, who is the special advisor media and publicity to the Nigerian president, President Muhammadu Buhari. Um, we have been able to know what we might benefit again from Morocco, aside the fertilizer and agriculture, because of the various agreements signed. Well, Nigerians should be happy about this. And what other things can Nigerians expect right now that are on the ground from Nigerian government?
Well, the government exists to serve the people, secure them, protect them, grant enabling environment for them to thrive and to prosper. It is the duty of government to do all this and more. And I believe that the Buhari administration does not hold these things with levity. It takes it very serious that it owes Nigerians security, it owes them protection of lives and property, It owes them food security. It owes them a diversified economy. It owes them job opportunities, particularly the youths. So the government has its eyes on all this, and it will continue to work at it till the very last day of his time in office. The government will continue to work for Nigerians, and Nigerians can look forward to better deals from the government.
All right, before you go, this is the last question. We imagine you're on the rostrum addressing Nigerians on this fertilizer thing. What do you have to tell them?
Is that food security is not a mirage. Nigeria is near to food security, if it's not there yet. Now, let me give an example. For most of 2020, international borders were closed, airports were closed, seaports were closed, countries locked themselves in. Therefore, if you wanted to import food, how would they take the food? One, Nigeria, because it depended so much on crude oil prices had dropped, there was no money. And then, two, international borders were closed. If there was no food for 200 million people, you can imagine the catastrophe. 200 million people would have been starving. But because before then, the administration had invested massively in agriculture, particularly rice production. See the difference it made in this country. All the palliative efforts that were given to people, you can see huge piles of rice shared out. And I think it's a big, big, big development in our country that we are almost at a place we can say there's food security. If we survived a shutdown that lasted several months and Nigerians were not scavenging, we knew countries that our citizens went across the borders looking for food, but it didn't happen in Nigeria. So that shows you that the agricultural revolution is working in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Well, for some time now, I've been having a chat with the special advisor to the Nigerian president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, who has brilliantly spoken to us on the relationship between Nigeria and Morocco. We came to that because we have been discussing a Greek revolution in Nigeria with particular reference to fertilizer production, where we wanted to know from him if we're just talking about fertilizer only between Nigeria and Morocco. And he said many agreements were signed, and which actually went beyond fertilizer and, of course, agriculture. We tried to know how these introduction of the plant, the fertilizer arrangements will generate employment, and was able to actually spell it out that by the time you go through the value chain, you will know that thousands of Nigerians will be employed. And about the security situation, he believes that the security situation has nothing to chase away investors now, whatever people say about the security situation, because the investors keep trooping in. So once again, Femi, we thank you so much for finding time to come to our studio.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Until when I come your way again with yet another guest, Odion Bello here. Bye for now.